Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and I'd like to welcome to the show Jerry Ellsworth and Rick Johnson from Technical Illusions. Is that right? Technical Illusions, not illusionist.
There's Technical Illusions.
Technical Illusions, and what you have created really probably did the name come? The Technical Illusions name come out of the castAR product that you've got, or was it the other way around and it just happened to mesh really well?
We had to decide on a company name first for legal reasons to establish a corporation and all that kind of stuff. And that took us 3 days to come up with a name. The product name, castAR, took us probably about 2 weeks. And the final...
It was more than that. Yeah. It was agonizing.
The final kind of genius moment happened to be on our way driving down to Maker Faire to debut it the next day. So nothing like pushing it off until the last moment.
Yeah. What are we going to call it when we get there?
We had banners printed that day, and hey, it's castAR. Like
all right.
It's been.
Yeah. So, okay, what is castAR?
So castAR is the core of it is a pair of glasses that you wear. They have two small micro projectors up on the brow area that project a stereoscopic image out into the world. And we use a special surface called a retroreflector that you roll out on your table, or you hang on your wall, or you put in different configurations. And this retroreflector bounces these images directly back to your eyes. It's so directional that no one else in the room can see what you're projecting. And in fact, multiple people can be wearing the glasses, projecting images out to the surface and getting their own unique perspective. The glasses also have a head tracker, which track your head and body position within the room, and the computer or cell phone can update the graphics to give you the correct perspective. For instance, if Rick is wearing a pair of glasses and I'm wearing a pair of glasses, we can look at a table that has some of this material rolled out on it. We could render a teapot out there. I would see the spout on one side, and he would see the handle on the other side.
This is totally help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, help me.
Exactly.
So, and beautiful woman not included. So now I remember I'm a first generation gamer. I was a kid in the 70s, and I remember playing at the arcade, and we had some actually holographic games that came out in the 80s.
Yeah, the Holocene by Sega.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I happen to own one of those, yes.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
I saw in one of your videos that you had Defender, and I was jealous.
I have about 105 stand-up arcade games.
Oh, my goodness, and I thought my few arcade games was pretty great. Okay. Yes, being from Seattle, Washington, I'm sure you guys are really so you must really be into the community there. It's one of the largest pinball communities in the United States.
We have our conflict. He's an arcade collector. I'm a pinball collector. I have 70 pinball tables.
70? Holy cow!
I'm sick.
Yeah.
My highest has been about 12.
Ah.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's a whole nother episode. So this holographic game that we had in the arcade, you could kind of move around it and kind of see around it a little bit, right? That's what my recollection is. That's been a long time ago.
Yeah, that was just kind of a optical illusion. It wasn't really 3D. It was just a really fancy curved mirror with a monitor shining into it, and as you moved around, it kind of gave the illusion that it was popping up a little bit, but it wasn't tracking your head position. It wasn't giving you different perspectives.
So now what you have here is each individual person sees their own perspective, and what is that game, Gingka or whatever, where you have the logs that you place on top of each other and you try and pull them out?
Yes.
And I imagine just like a table game like that, where you have people sitting around the table, and so conceivably with these on, you could be playing something like Gingka, and everybody could see the proper view and know which way to pull their sticks.
Yeah, it's, for all intents and purposes, it's like a real physical object that's on the table. but in this case, it's computer generated. And so, since the computer knows everything about your head orientation, it knows everything about the virtual world and the 3D construction of it. It can render the scene as if you're looking at it directly.
And you can do some other really interesting effects too, like on the Jenga game that Rick made, he made it low gravity. So if you take...
I didn't actually know that you made one.
The reverse of Jenga. So the blocks grow up and the objective is just to destroy them and smash them down. So more satisfying.
But he made it with low gravity. So if you take our Magic Wand, which is our 3D input device we developed to go along with the glasses, you can take and you smash down on the blocks and they fly up in the air. And people often will jump because the blocks will fly up right towards their face and it's generating the correct stereoscopic image, like it's flying right to your face. And then also the blocks that fall over the edge of the little square that's rendered on the table look like they fall down forever into, eternity. And it's quite amusing.
I had a very early prototype called Team 4 Chess, which was a chessboard made with TF2 characters. And they would animate and move and do a taunt animation to destroy somebody. The destroyed character would fly up and ragdoll, but I had inadvertently only defined the physics for the board, and so if they ragdoll towards the edge, you could slowly watch them creep down and then just fall to infinity.
This is amazing stuff. I knew when I saw your Kickstarter, which, by the way, blew up. It only took you, 48 hours to hit your goal of 400,000, and it's still climbing. I look at this and I see so many different things that we can do with this beyond playing games. Can you envision things like movies being filmed where depending on which portion of the room you're sitting in is which kind of view you get of the scene? I mean, can it get that complex, or?
That you probably almost have to more like the movie is actually being dynamically rendered rather than having it stored from that perspective, because you still, like watching a 3D movie on your TV, it doesn't change perspective as you move around, and so you kind of need that data in order to truly make it immersive.
And actually that brings up a point of folks have issues with 3D TVs because they don't have the parallax. It kind of messes with our system. Since we have accurate head tracking, when we render graphics on the table, it has parallax. So it looks like it's natural and it's there on the table. But like you were saying, it would be pretty awesome if there was a completely rendered kind of interactive movie where you could move around an entire 3D volume and look at different perspectives. So you could watch the movie over and over again. You might just sit in a different angle and look at the entire show again.
Yeah, or if the monster is under the bed, you might, get down on your hands and knees to look under.
Exactly.
What is the difference between the glasses that you have here and how you put this all together against like the Oculus Rift?
So our glasses have 3 modes of operation, whereas the Oculus Rift has 1 mode of operation. So we've only talked about the projected augmented reality so far in the show. But there's also a set of clip-ons that are in one of our funding levels that you can slip over the top of the glasses, which makes it VR compatible. So it's can do all the Oculus style games, so first-person shooters and fully immersive. And then there's some shutters on those that you can open that allow light in from the world, and you can do surface-free type experiences without the retro surface. Now, the reason you'd want to use the retro surface is that it's a super comfortable, lightweight system using that. There's no eye strain. Some people have issues with these near-tie displays, and that's what this clip-on is.
Now, explain to me the technology of the screen that we're projecting on, because you said that it bounces back at each person at their angle. And I'm familiar with like projector screens, like higher end projector screens will actually have like glass beads woven into them and everything. But how does this know where you're at to know how to reflect back at you?
Yeah, so the screen is much like those projection screens you're talking about, but even more directional. And it's a very common item. It's the silver strips that they put on safety gear, or sometimes it's laminated into road signs. And it's glass spheres that are embedded into the surface. And so the light that strikes the surface goes into the glass spheres, which are super small, and then they just do a couple bounces and come directly back at you with very low scatter out into the room in other directions. So each person projecting their image, all the light comes back to them.
Mm-hmm. And how bright are these projectors? Like, okay, your room is pretty bright there. Will it work well in that amount of brightness, or do you need lower?
No, this is actually the perfect brightness. It won't work out directly in the sun. That's just a little bit too bright. Mm-hmm. But just kind of normally lit rooms like this are great. Dark is fine. So the projectors are actually running extremely low wattage. So if you were to look at the projectors on the top when it's on, it just looks like two dimly glowing LEDs. But because of the surface, it concentrates all the light directly back to your eyes. So it ends up being a very bright and vivid image that you're seeing.
Yeah, it's been a very kind of difficult space to record. The videos we've shown on the Kickstarter and other places kind of show it a bit dimmer and everything, but in real life, it's a very bright, brilliant image.
That's this is all just so cool, I have to tell you.
The price point is also a huge advantage, and the weight. It's just it's a combination of everything just makes it a great product because of the glasses are less than 100 grams when we get into production. The material is inexpensive, so if you want to have a giant stereoscopic 3D display hanging on your wall, just tack up some of this material. Yeah.
All right, next logical step. With wearing these, can we create a holodeck?
It's been talked about a lot. I mean, if you get the material is not that expensive, so it's when you buy it in bulk. And if you were to wallpaper a room, a 10 by 10 room, or something of similar size, and you put enough tracking markers so that one's always visible in your space, you can easily create a holodeck type experience.
What's very cool is that since the light rays are projecting out from your headset, they just go right around to everything. So if someone steps in front of you, the light rays go around them and come directly back. And it's seamless. You hold your hand up, it just looks like stuff's rendering behind your hand.
That's really amazing. It just really is. The only thing that you wouldn't be able to get would be the tactile touch, or I suppose, yeah, that'd be hard.
Yeah. Give us a couple years.
Yeah. So when we were initially starting to develop this back at our previous place we were at, we talked about doing the ultimate where you could walk around anywhere in the world and you could be riding on a bus and having these kinds of experiences. And we quickly identified that the technology isn't quite there yet. So we took a step back. We're like, okay, let's make it room scale and let's just have a really kick-ass room scale experience. Like if you want to do tabletop gaming, let's make it the best at that. If you want to do a flight simulator, let's make it so it can be a great flight simulator. And then with the VR clip-ons, let's make it the total immersive first-person shooter. And I think we've nailed the, in your room kind of experience. And then, like Rick was saying, give us some time as we keep developing it. 5 years down the road, who knows what we'll have.
I can just totally imagine a game like Skyrim or something like that, and being in your game room, and really, you hear something behind you, and you turn around and you see the monster that's about to clobber you. And I can totally see breaking my glasses because I freak out and knock them off my head or something like that.
It's Terry's plan to sell more glasses. So.
Yeah. So okay, let's talk about how those people who are watching can get involved with this. So now it's on Kickstarter right now, and how much time have we got left on it? We got a little over 20 days, and I see that you guys already, you're about to hit, at the time of filming this, you're about to hit 600,000 in funding, which is absolutely amazing.
That is our first stretch goal too, is to actually create an experience, what was shown in the video, of a dungeon creator environment and a kind of a high-level supplement to role-playing for people across the internet and stuff to enjoy the same experience of what we're portraying.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we're funded, it's not over yet. We set our goal to the point where we easily have enough money to do a manufacturing run, but then it would be primarily just our small team working on it. And as more people get involved, the more stuff that we can do. We can bring on more engineers. We can make more software experiences. We have some plans that'll make the hardware even more convenient. Like, if we can reach the million level and beyond, there's a couple of things we'll be able to do that will really make the glasses awesome. So
they're already awesome. So what, you'd be adding awesomer?
Yeah.
So, okay, tell us, how much is it going to cost me to get a pair of these glasses so that I can try this myself?
So the basic starter kit is $189, and that includes a pair of glasses and a surface that's 1 meter by 1 meter. There's a programmer kit that includes a 1 meter by 2 meter surface, as well as the VR, AR clip-ons and the Magic Wand, the 3D input device. And there's various other levels too for the board gamer that has an RFID grid, so you can track miniatures and cards and other types of devices across.
Actually, that's an entire area we haven't gone into yet. Is the RFID grid that we're developing.
Oh, look at that.
This is
so you don't want to walk into Walmart's checkout line with that.
Or TSA security.
Yeah.
yeah.
We haven't actually shown this much in public yet because it's still in prototype stage and it's not very convenient to transport yet. But it's an array of RFID readers, and it'll come in. If you get the Pro Board Gamer kit, it comes in 1 meter by 2 meter that fits underneath your surface, and then it allows you to use inexpensive RFID tags that you put on the bottom of your miniatures, and you can track their position across 2D space on your table, and then the computer can render around your character. I mean, Rick can explain.
Yeah, for something like Dungeons and Dragons, each character can be uniquely named and it could tell the hit point stats and other things like that. Magic the Gathering type games, if placed on a card, you can have a character spawn from it and do mock.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, because RFIDs can fit in cards.
Yeah, they're very paper thin, so you can just stick one underneath. You can feel them between cards.
I play the card and I watch you blow up.
Yeah. and we have a more advanced version of the RFID we call precision based, that actually allows two-way communication between the grid and the microprocessor that's on this base. And the initial use of this is that it allows us to get down to sub-millimeter accuracy. And so for games like Warhammer, where you're measuring out distances and figuring out all those kind of line of sight issues, the computer now accurately knows that information. And so now you're just concentrating on strategy rather than all the kind of the menial little details.
And not only can this produce cool effects while you're playing, but it also in an area of, say, tutorials and everything where you're not sure what move to make next, it could actually show you.
Yeah, and it can show you like the super tank has this big area of effect, and so don't get near them. You know, it can visually represent all those things.
I don't know. Did you mention? I don't know if we mentioned that you can do remote play also. So if you can track these objects locally, then you can have avatars that your friends are seeing while you play over distance. So you put your miniature down, they see an avatar show up on their side, and they can put their miniature down, and vice versa. You see an avatar on your side. So it makes board gaming and those kinds of interactions. You don't have to drag everything over to each other's house.
Now you mentioned something that I didn't say anything about before, but not only is this like hook up to your computer, but you also mentioned cell phones.
Yeah, ultimately we've watched the transition of gaming from the arcades, where it's a very social experience, to sitting on couches and everybody's looking forward, or putting on VR headsets and you don't even see each other. And so the advantage of doing augmented reality is that you can sit across on a table, you can see each other, and you can have a very social experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the lenses on the glasses are transparent. And so we were just showing a game developer recently. He was wearing it, and his cell phone rang, and he whipped his cell phone out. He typed a message on it, and then he's like, "Oh my God, I've used the other VR headsets, and I would have never been able to do this because I wouldn't have my hands."
Mm-hmm.
And so, like when Jerry mentioned earlier about the retro material surface being so efficient that we're driving the projectors at a very low wattage, it's perfect for a cell phone environment. And so you don't have to lug your computer to the table and have everybody plug in. You just use your existing cell phone and plug it in and sit down, and you can enjoy the same experience.
Mm-hmm. It's just also amazing. You guys have blown my mind with this.
We've been working for a very long time, so it's not like we conceived this overnight and just put it together. It's been 18 months of grueling work. And the last couple months to get to this point, we kind of had this date in mind for Kickstarter. And so we were really pushing hard to develop the last bits.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about your success that you've had so far?
It's been overwhelming. I mean, we had initially hoped for the first few days of getting 25-30%. That was kind of the magic number we always heard from other Kickstarters. As we get that, then it will breed additional success as you go along. To see it funded so quickly, it was a very proud moment. We were also extremely tired. It's doing the script and the video recording and the Kickstarter text and getting ready to launch and the final details and all that. Like we launched at 5 a.m. Pacific time, which is 8 a.m. Eastern time, and so we got maybe 10 minutes of sleep prior to that, and then just nonstop PR. And so the point we hit the 400,000, we were just on the road traveling to another spot, and
it was like, we did it,
yay! Like,
again, like I said earlier, we get more and more excited as we go forward, because that was the bare minimum, and now as we move forward, the real exciting stuff can happen.
So if money were no object, what would you turn this into? What is your final vision of this look like?
I think the final vision, if you fast forward 10 years from now, is that everybody wants kind of the movie experience, where you walk around and anything can project on anything and it looks like it's right there. Buildings could have virtual graffiti and everybody could share and see those virtual graffitis, and it's just a very seamless augmentation of the physical world that requires CPU power, additional mathematics, and hardware that has to be designed. And so we see ourselves as like, this is our first initial step towards getting that goal. And so we already have rough ideas of what we want to do with the second generation and so forth to eventually get us to that point.
And I think we're well underway. We had a reporter just recently say he was impressed with it because it was a very natural and subtle experience, unlike these really jarring things like the roller coaster app or something. It was like, the blocks that you put out there, the little guys that are running around your table just feel like they're supposed to be there. And in that regard, we've really nailed it. If you just suspend your disbelief, like that little character is running on the table.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there's still a long ways to go.
Yep. Okay. Well, guys, I thank you very much for taking the time. I know that you guys are probably absolutely exhausted. I've been on your side of a Kickstarter before, and it is a hell of a lot of work. Nobody knows how much work it is until they've been through it. And so thank you very much for your time. And any parting words before we tell everybody to go to your Kickstarter page and get in on this?
Well, go out and tell your friends about it. That's, still have a long ways to go. We need all the help we can get. Anyone that is interested in this space, flight simulators, virtual reality, board games, 3D input.
RTSs, RPGs.
I see a whole bunch of games integrating this, you know, in short time.
And yeah, there's some exciting news we're going to have in a few days. There's a whole stack of games that are going to be coming online, really big titles.
Yeah, we've been very frequent with the updates. Just last night, we put out a kind of a scientific demonstration of a series of 20 MRI scans that you can now visualize in 3D of the subject's head, and you can slice through them to look at them individually and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of should have waited until Halloween to put it out because it is kind of
macabre. Yeah. So, okay. Well, thank you very much, guys. Hang on, don't go anywhere. And those of you who are watching, now go to the link that's in the description and click there, take a look. You can get in on this for as little as just a couple of bucks. You can buy Jerry coffee. But if you want the glasses, you got to pony up a few more bucks. And I think that the price point is amazing on this. This is something that I'd expect to cost a hell of a lot more.
Well, my background is in toy design, and so I took all the techniques for toy design and applied it to cost reducing and miniaturizing the glasses. So we're very proud of the price.
It's amazing to be at that price point. And I don't know. I got nothing but good things to say. So, okay. Thank you everybody for watching. Click the link down below. Do it now.
There's our prone. All right. This is pre-alpha.